Okay, here I am back in the second movement of the Prokofiev Sixth Sonata, working on the non-arpeggio sections. But before I do, I should point out that the last two video clips that I had were sort of two pieces of the same thing, and I discovered to my astonishment that when I go on long and I was sort of in the mode and in the mood and in the groove previously, that the camera stops at roughly an hour and a half and says, surely you've done enough recording, and then it starts a new file just so it won't get lost. That happens to be its particular idiosyncrasy. So if I stop in mid-sentence and I don't sum it up, you can know pretty well, and I'll try to keep the files identified that way, that the next one will continue where I left off. It's a little bit odd, but that's the way it is, and I was kind of surprised that I had gone on for an hour and a half without interruption anyway, which means that I actually went on a little bit further than that. But you know what it's like. Sometimes you just get in that groove, and I think I stopped when I realized that the complexities of the demands and the energy and concentration I had weren't quite matched for one another. So I've taken a break. I've done some of my computery stuff to get this stuff transferred, and now I'm back. So I am choosing to be somewhere in the second movement. I know I did 111, 112. I found the fingerings. The change. Yeah, so I'm going to be, I think I'm going to be around 116. Seems like a good spot. Oh no, I take it back. I'm going to review 112. Because I remember now, the right hand I was taken care of really well. But I hadn't really done it together. This is still part of a meno mosso, so that's good for us. That there's time for all these convoluted things to be taken care of. Let's see what the left hand is up to. I've written a sostenuto. Very B flatty. Doesn't hold still. Interesting rhythm here. Okay, that's part of what makes it tricky, is the left hand is maintaining the same harmonic support in B flat, but rhythmically and in terms of placement on the piano, it's going all over the place. So, here at least it's not. And I'm also using a fingering that involves tossing the left hand from an arpeggiated or a broken chord to a solid chord. So the right hand at least is in one hand position in my fingering. So I'm practicing those left hand shifts so they agree with a simple pattern in the right hand, so I'm not distracted twice over. say some of this is just a notational issue because the combination of, in 115, of beamings and placement on the page and clef changes and all that sort of thing makes it more difficult to understand where the continuity is. For example, I'm planning on playing in the third quarter, eighth, 1, 3, and 5, and toss my hand. It's hard to see that hand position because of the clef change. So now that I've written it out, and written out a fingering to indicate, and added a line, those are three graphical things that should make it easier. And then the right hand shifts at the very end. Now the right hand shifts. There we go. And when you learn, when the hands are shifting in dramatically different places with dramatically different demands, you have to decide where the continuity is. What are you going to bind to? What are you going to identify with? For example, this is a very big shift in the right hand using the fingering I'm using, which I like. 5, 3, 1, 5. So I obviously need lots of concentration on getting my hand to the fifth finger. That means my left hand, one hopes, doesn't need my attention. And it doesn't. I can get here just fine. Then I need attention a beat later. So it's... right hand doesn't need any attention here when these three arpeggio notes are under my hand. Now the right hand followed immediately by the left hand. So now I finally have the kernel of this gestural complexity that I have to concentrate on. It's exactly those four notes. So, if I clarify that, then I've conquered the most difficult aspect of this particular portion of the passage. Let me approach it. Yes, indeed. I need to open up my hand. It also forges for me a physical identity as well as a mental identity. How it fits together, in other words, starts to make sense. It doesn't matter how bizarre the shifts are. It matters that somehow the choreography and the thought process and everything starts to simplify, which is what I'm starting to feel. There you are. I don't even know what the tempo is right now. It's still supposed to be in 2, so... Snudo needed? Release decided upon. Almost. Almost is not good enough. The shift. I didn't look, I didn't think, I didn't get it. If I'm going to shift to 5, I have to know exactly where I'm going. Too much pedal. I'm stuck on my sostenuto use. I second one with the chromaticism doesn't need the shift to the fifth till much later. So shift. I need to play it more slowly. When I know that I'm starting to know some of it, that I don't have to actually read from the page all of the details. I have to hold on. Okay, I'm getting there. Look. Look. Okay, when I have to look in a different place, and I have to have my left hand has to already have taken care of business here. Then I didn't even need to look there because I don't know why. Is this easier? Yeah, somehow getting to this D on fifth finger is easier because I have a slightly more compact hand position in this version of the descent than I did the first time. So that's really interesting to me. This is the first version. So it feels like an isolated placement. And this second version feels more continuous and more under my hand. And so I get it with greater ease. It's odd. I never hung on. It's coming. One last time for good measure. Okay, this needs help. Not the most comfortable thing, does really get me my thumb note very nicely underneath. So I'll do it, I think. Worth it. Putting the second finger on G at the end of 119 to get the thumb on F. So expansive, shall I call it? At least now it is. Okay, I put in a crossover fingering. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 5. It'll have to be 4, 5 after that. Identify the moving line here that I write. So I have good right hand. Nice. I have written here 4 to 1. Oh, it's the right hand, 4 to 1. Yes. Let's see what the left hand is up to. Okay, my fingering seems pretty good. E flat, G major, E major, E flat, shift. Intentions more clear. 4-note arpeggio with my arm tossing my hand over to E flat. So it's easy to memorize it. The B flat to the G to the E. And then a bunch of B flat. That will be easy. Weirdly, it's the right hand that's well, I had written here 4-3, which definitely is easy to get to from up here. And then 4-3 again, because I'm moving my hand down to a different position. That's not bad. I wonder if 4-3 wouldn't just work twice. I think maybe just for consistency. 5-4 is a little more comfortable, but 4-3 is there. It adds a linear component to the gesture. Aided a lot by the fact that I can understand more the nature of the left hand. In other words, I'm feeling these three chords, the B flat and the G and the E. That helps a lot. Okay, you see me change my mind. The 4-3 just destabilizes this interval by a tiny bit. And the next time around, I'm going to be picking up my hand anyway. So my original thought was a good one. So says my current version of me. Second arpeggio turns down to the C-sharp neighboring tone. Threw me for a second. The whole note in the left hand is being held by some kind of a pedal. I assume sostenuto. So maybe the discomfort of playing 3-5 here would be eliminated. Just take responsibility for my pedaling. It's an incomplete idea. It's not that hard if I'm concentrating on it. Because I'm already playing 3-5 the first time. So I'd rather not change that fingering. Actually shifted more of my attention to the left hand, where I didn't think it was needed, but it was. I've not practiced this transition from the second to the third measure, which is silly because that's where the trouble occurs. to feel familiar. Placement was wrong. I'm not signaling myself here, there. I have to keep the inclination of my hand the same to grab those tilted B flat chords. Tilt, stay tilted, and then tilt again for this odd 5-3. Okay, we skip ahead just to see what's going to happen in the last page. So we've just finished all the arpeggios. We're curious. E's and E sharps against D major arpeggios. Okay, here we are at 141. So the old familiar friend. Even the fingering, the sensation of under the hand is familiar. Lots of D's. So return to the A theme in a different guise. Combination of the A theme and that arpeggiated theme. Now, oh yeah, it was tempo primo. I was just concerned for a second. I need to mark third finger here in the left hand. I have the right number of fingers for the keys. So, in placing an isolated fifth, it's always better to be aware of where your thumb is, where the rest of your hand, in other words, is to support that fifth. Compares to the original. Okay, so I'm comparing 21 to where we just arrived at 147. It's higher by an octave. That's certainly different, but the notes are, the challenge is different in that there's an extra line thrown in these F sharp. That does change. What I was doing before, I was 1-3, 1-4-3-2. I can't do this. Here I have to use a fifth on top. It's not a horror, to have to change fingering for a similar kind of passage, because in a way it reminds me that I'm responsible for a different voice as well. So. Sorry for the lack of a F sharp. Oops. Chromatic. Okay. That certainly helps. It demands means a fourth finger for me on B flat, so I'm going 2, 1, 4, 3, 2. That sets me up. Okay, that's going to be different. Forgot, I hadn't marked it, that I could conceivably play that middle voice in the left hand and keep my right hand consistent. No wonder I hadn't written anything down. Okay, so if I do that, and Prokofiev has certainly noted that those lines that I didn't bother to notice today, but did the other day, that these lines are integrated. These thirds are just parallel thirds bouncing around. Out a fingering the first time through when I didn't have the extra third. So now the right hand feels familiar. The only difference, I turn to the third. The first time I turn to the fourth. Second time that's exactly the same way as it was early in the movement. Taking the right hand, E over with the left hand for a tie. I'm not sure I'm going to do that. No, I'm not. I'm going to play it all. Play 3-1 and just grab both notes of the chord. Why not? Yes, of course. My fingering and my hand division. Okay, here I need a little concern for what the notes are, because they're not all expected. Those D minors are interesting. A tinge of blue. Ooh. Again, I'd like to stress the difference between real knowledge of something and memorization is incidental. I'm looking at this music, and when it's memorized, I will be able to play it, of course, without referring to the music. But the music is not helping me. It's so full of enharmonic complexities that I need to understand it. I need to understand where the notes connect and how the keys feel and all those sorts of things that will make this be meaningful to me. And so once it's meaningful, it doesn't matter whether I call it memorized or not, it will be fully understood. And I won't need to rely on the complexities of this notation. Because I've got to sit here right now and say, what are these notes? Okay, well, I went through here once before. I see I've identified a C major chord. 147, 8, 9, 50, 151, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. In measure 153. I think. I'm going to go to fourth finger on the E major at the end of 153. It's easier to grab. Even though I was just on fourth, 4 to 5 to 4, 4 to 4, and I'm going to stick with it. And then to up here. Oh, I wondered why I'd written 2. Because why would I play 5-3-2 on a first inversion E flat chord under normal circumstances? But it's because of the lower E flat thumb note that comes in next measure. So. There we go. So if I'm going to do that, okay, I can do 1 and 4. Yeah. 1 and 4 is a good way of setting up this E flat and this weird fingering. So. I need 2s in both hands. It's so cool. Oh, I need the same thing in the left hand. Isn't that interesting? If I make this symmetrical, 1 and 4 in both hands, then the 5-3 comes naturally. Thumb, thumb, thumb. That's good. Please. A little slower. There I'm starting to come into focus. Right under my hand. Five and 3, there it is. Oh, that's curious. This is slightly awkward. If I'm going 2, 4, 5 on the bottom, maybe I shouldn't. Let me try. I could even turn my hand over. I could play. Doesn't work so well for the first one. But actually, for the third one, my left hand, going 2 1, 3, 5 is much more comfortable than squishing my thumb up on the black note. So I wish I were just as... First one I'll go 1 to 2, 3, 5. Then I'll shift. That's enough, yes. Shift.